Good afternoon. It's Gramp back on the 944. We're going to do kind of a short one. I've got to aim down towards the engine because we're going to put the fuel rail back in and the injectors and so on and so forth. What I did this morning was put the blanket on the turbo, finished up the pressure sensing line for the outlet of the exhaust on the turbo side. So I've got that sensor line set up. Put the intake manifold on, got things moved out of the way. So now we're going to put the fuel rail in so I can start closing this all up. I've got electrical work I've been working on, changing of cables off the alternator because they got to be longer. Because of the exhaust change, I can't run them back through where they were. Kind of afraid of them getting a little bit on the hot side, plus trying to keep the high tension lines, meaning battery cables, away from sensor lines, which is one of the things that the AEM instructions for installing that suggest. So let's put the fuel rail on the, down in the intake and go from there. I like to do a little bit of Vaseline on the O-rings so you don't have to force them in. On top of that, the Vaseline does stay pliable even though we've got heat. Get rid of that. Make sure I get it in the right way. Kind of handy. There's a couple brackets that I got to turn up out of the way. Plus, with something on the O-rings, you don't have to force it in and roll the O-rings up and out of the way, which you don't want. Okay, now all we need is the bolts. These bolts can be kind of a pain. Well, oh, I lost my 10mm socket there for a moment. Yeah, they're down in not a very nice spot. Kind of a juggling act getting them in there. But after doing it, I don't know how many times now. I don't even want, oops. Yeah, we can use that in there. No, we can't. I got 3 different length bolts for different reasons. I got one here and one down in there. And that's why I have the magnet, because that's about the only way you can get them out. This little short one actually goes over here. And this other shorter one goes down into here. Tighten it up quite all the way. This back one can be a real pain. Especially when your fingers are a little bit on the big side. Doesn't help matters any. Yeah, pretty good first time. Lucky, I guess. Next thing I think it will plug in the injector line to these. But I got to put the clips on here beforehand. These can be kind of a pain. It's a Bosch thing, I guess. The one thing about it, they don't come off. I mean, it's pretty common, I guess. That one, I don't know how many times I've done this. Lost count. Taking this in and out. And get better at it, I guess. It's become a routine. Maybe one of these years I won't take it apart. Maybe. I've got a project on Friday. This is Wednesday. I'm going to buff out the hood on my granddaughter's Ranger. I buffed out part of the fender. And she asked me, she says, "Grandpa, is the whole car going to look like that?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." So just for the heck of it, I decided that I'd buff out the hood just so she could see what it looked like. Okay, what's going on with that? I think I got that the right way. No, we got a bent prong in there. I can't have that. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, that's better. I've been trying to upgrade the wire, and I'm going to say make it a little neater. Just making it that much better. Okay, this thing here goes on to here. Kind of a tight squeeze, but it does. Like so. This one here, let's see. This is my oil pressure to the head. Let me get some tools here. Take the cap off this. 944, this S did not have this. I redid all these galley plugs that go on the oil chambers on this thing. I didn't like the, they were like freeze plugs. And the first time around I replaced them, the OEM ones weren't available. So I ended up, anyway, long story short, I ended up pulling them all out, tapping them out, and putting 1/4-inch plugs in. When I did, I left this one open. I put a separate gauge for the oil pressure going to the head. And I think I mentioned in some of the video that this has a pressure regulating valve over in here that maintains 40 pounds or so to the head, not overpowering the lifters, because it supplies the lifters along with just, because it's got hydraulic lifters. So it doesn't supply just the hydraulic lifters and the cams, lubrication, and so on and so forth. So yeah. All right. It's quite a cluster here. It's a good thing I kind of remember where everything goes. And I use all regular air brake push-in fittings. top of there. This one goes over to the blow-off valve. And then I've got wires that are going to go in down there. These are the sensors. This is a cam and timing sensor. I run those over the top of there to keep them from any wiring, because those are the ones right there that can be affected by current passing through another, you know, like a battery cable or anything that there's current flowing through it. I can't remember the term, but you know, every wire that's got current running through it has a field around it, and they say it can affect those. Because you got a signal, you got a supply and a signal. And these are all 5 volt. Gotta release that one. Okay. And this gets attached to the piping here, just wire tied on. People call them zip ties, wire ties, whatever. This goes over to the blow-off valve, so we can't do that yet until we get the intake line done. So let's see, is there anything else here? I've got some wires in the back to do, which I can get those later, because those are kind of I have to stand in front of the camera basically. So what we're going to do is go over there. Get a wrench here to work with. Kick the camera and put the throttle in here. I do want to do that, sure. Quite a cluster of wires, that's for sure. I wished I had done it differently, but I can't say it's too late to do it, but one of these days I may make it the winter project rather than a whole bunch of them. Let's see here where I want to be. Remember where that's supposed to be. Not there. Train. Believe it or not, that train's about a half a mile away, but it seems like it's right outside the window. About a half mile to the back of my property, and that's where the train is. See, that's not quite right. Oh, I see why. Dipstick. The dipstick, I had to really do some fancy finagling to get that in there. There we go. Let's see if that does it. Yeah. Wrong size wrench. Well. Is that 10 millimeters? No. Maybe it is. It is. Might have to adjust this a little bit. Get that all the way back. This is the air inlet temperature wire. This is the throttle position sensor. Plus we've got all this over here. Now, dipstick. This has always been a problem. What I gotta do is, comes out of there easy enough. It's the O-ring that I worry about. This poor thing's been bent up so many times to fit around the different exhaust for 2 or 3 different turbos. So what I gotta do is find something better for an O-ring. So off I go again. Something that won't fall down in the hole. Might work. What I'm going to do is put some sealant around it. So I don't know if this O-ring is going down and beyond the shoulder in there or not. So make sure it doesn't go any further. The thing is, I don't think my hole's going to line up. No, well, that's rather handy. Oh, maybe it will. Where I bent it, it made it a little bit longer. I think what I'm going to do is use a smaller bolt, I think. Yeah. Got a 1/4-inch bolt in there, but I'm going to use 3/16. I think. All right. All right, we're going to bypass that for a little while. That's going to take a little bit of doing to get that in there. Plus, I'd have to be off camera for a while trying to find out. I want to use a nylon nut so they don't lose it. Anything that might have vibration between, the block and the intake manifold. So we're going to go to the vacuum hose. Put the dipstick in so we don't lose something down in the hole. What I'm going to do, I'm going to vice grip that there for the time being. I'm going to say where I've got it all bent up. The dipstick has one position that will go in. About right there. Right up against the throttle cable. All right. And that's the vacuum for the booster. Shouldn't be too much longer and get this thing running. I hope so anyway. All right, the rest of this I'll have to get later. What I'm going to do, I think, is do the intake to the turbo filter and stuff. I've already got that kind of planned. I'm gonna move this back. Bear with me. You see down in there, all right? Get this out of the way. No, did I tighten that up? No, don't want to forget that stuff. No. This is 3/8 to 7 3/8. Now this right here is a tight squeeze to get all this in. Oops, just lost the filter. And it has to come up wide. I say this thing is filter's kind of oversized, which is nice, but it's down in the cool air. It's not coming from the hot air in here. I used to have it up in here, but I cut a hole down through here in order to get it down in the cool air, down close to the ground. But the funny part is you can only put it up through. So I'm going to put the clamp on here. I may have to adjust things a little bit because everything's different again. hopefully get to dyno early this year, about a month and a half early. I always like to go early, but if you have issues, at least you've got time to fix it. See, am I going to be able to get at that? I think so. We got to come up through. Few obstacles to go over. Need that. We're gonna have a pipe. Well, I misplaced the pipe. Oh, that was bright of me. Somewhere here. Well, that was rather bright of me. I set the pipe down someplace and I can't find it. Not unless I put it in the wrong. No, that's correct. Well, that's downright handy. I'm getting senile. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I misplaced the short piece of 4-inch aluminum pipe that's supposed to go in here. And right now, I don't know where it is, which is kind of foolish. But you get enough stuff floating around here and you're bound to lose something, which I have. So we'll put this on here. Yeah, sure I will. Come on. I'm not going to tighten this hose up as yet because I got to clock it. Yeah, and it's going to be a tight squeeze here. It's up against the hoses here, so it's going to take some doing, that's for sure. But I got to find the pipe, so at this point, I'll get back to you. See you next time, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.